When I was 14, I wrote an epic story called Return of the Predators, a story about young love in the midst of war. Three kingdoms once allied fell into a civil war. All the while, an unseen and dangerous foe came from the north to destroy them, and how these events impacted the lives of several nobility from some of the former allied kingdoms that now fight each other. And that story was fucking stupid and made no sense. You can already see the obvious Game of Thrones parallels. Allied kingdoms fight each other with a all-powerful threat coming in from the far north. It's literally Game of Thrones. I even set the story in an alternate world British Isles to make it even worse. And the plot itself is filled with typical shit a 14-year-old writes. Excessive violence and thinking, dark and edgy equals cool and brooding. Let's break it down. At one point, the wall, which I called the blockade, learns it's about to get attacked by my version of the White Walkers, which I called the Picts. So it sends a bunch of messengers to the three allied kingdoms to warn them about the attack. But these messengers are never mentioned again. I dropped them as fast as my parents must have dropped me for that plot hole. Seriously, I read through that book I wrote, and I never mentioned the fucking messengers again. But don't worry, the cast realizes they're about to get massacred by Scottish White Walkers when one of the main cast gets kidnapped and taken miles north by a different group. It's insane. There's also a bunch of moments that don't really make sense. Two characters go into some old tunnels near their home and they get chased out of there by spiders. No explanation why. They just are, and it's never brought up again. It's dropped because we have to get to our next excessively violent scene. There's also a shoehorned romance that didn't need to be there. Character speeches are downright stolen from Rick Grimes' speeches from The Walking Dead. It's so stupid, it's so dumb. And yet, every now and then, I go back to that file and I read the battle scenes that I wrote. I don't know if it's sort of a bias, given it's something I made to completion or what, but specifically reading those battle scenes are always so fun. And why? Why is the plot so fucking stupid, yet the battles, most of all, are an enjoyable read? They're fun. They have a sense of scale and vividness to them, much like Just Cause 3. Imagine this. You play Just Cause 3, and despite the fact that the game's content is extremely repetitive and the same, blowing up military bases, you play the game for the wrong amount of hours. Why? Why do you do that? Well, this is why.
Big mistake, guys.
Just Cause 3 is a Michael Bay movie at your fingertips. That is one of the best inventions of the modern age. Fuck sliced bread. Causing explosions in a screen is the new deal. I mean, especially with the Bavarian wingsuit. Like, my god. The gameplay is as simple as it gets, with that death weapon, and also brutally easy. All of your deaths will come from misjudging how much damage you'll get by slamming against the ground at the speed of a military jet. But it's honestly just so much fun. Flying straight into a radar spy or fuel depot, unloading all of your missiles and flying out of there without stepping one foot on the ground and just hearing the eargasm explosions happening behind you. That's one thing this game gets right over anything else, is the S tier sound design. Everything here sounds like God. But the story is also fucking garbage. From the moment the open world opens up to you, you can liberate every settlement in the game. This includes the capital, where the dictator is living. This doesn't make sense, because then you go along in the story and there are scenes with the big bad dictator in his palace, which you have liberated, and there's supposed to be rebels patrolling the capital. The problem in this game isn't the characters or the dialogue. Honestly, that's a plus. Mario Frigo is one of the funniest, most charismatic, endearing characters I have ever seen, and his friendship with Rico Rodriguez is endearing and just adorable throughout the entire game. Like, pretty much every character has a funny moment, or they have a personality. Honestly, you look at any scene out of context to the plot at large, and it just oozes style and personality. The problems start when the characters have to talk about the plot and liberating Medici, the country the game is set in. And everything about the plot is so stale. The plot is boring, saved only by the excellent cast and dialogue. And that is okay, because the plot is not what we're here to do. We're also not here for a challenge. If we want difficulty, we can boot up Elden Ring. We are here for explosions and freedom, which is what the game offers in spades. And that's also why I kinda hate Just Cause 4. Oh, you're telling me that Rico gets control of a tornado and literally drives it? Boy, it'd be cool to actually control that tornado and fuck shit up as we chase the big bad guy. Nah, we'll just look at Rico in a quick cutscene, and we won't even make a set piece for the cutscene. Just do a hard cut to the plane blowing up. It's fine. But that's the thing. It's fine for a game to deliver weak stories, because they promise something else. Just Cause 4 promises creative destruction. And, sometimes stories may not be good, but they can do some accidentally great things. My book accidentally had good battle scenes. Just Cause 3 has great characters. So what does Dying Light 2 have? I've already done a video breaking down Dying Light 2, but don't watch it, it's not as good. When Dying Light 1 came out, it was lambasted for its weak story and bad characters. But at least in my eyes, they maybe accidentally created a very unique and worthwhile setting. Zombies that hid from the sun, a dark and oppressive night, while the day was liberating and empowering for the player. It's a system and setting that carried over to the sequel, where during the day, the streets have a few weak zombies, and at night, it is impossible to walk the streets without getting tackled by them. This video is about Dying Light 2, and before we start, I just want to make it clear that I do love this game. Like I said in my retrospective video months ago, its gameplay is far superior to what is available on the market today. But this video is going to focus on the negatives, on where the game, in my view, falls short. So, Techland has spent the last 2 years constantly updating Dying Light 2 with new content, revamped systems and mechanics, and implementing things that the community asked. And honestly, I kinda wish they stopped doing that. Now hold on now, hold your horses. Keep your torches and your pitchforks till the end of the video, please. Let's have an intelligent discussion first. Then we can do what the internet always does. You'll all dogpile on me, and I'll keep dying on this hill and making increasingly stupid comments. I'm currently debating whether I'll call you all fascists or racists, or also I'll go a different route and call you sissy woke gay boys. I'm still thinking. Techland has been, for a while now, a company that is focused on listening to their fans first and doing their own thing second. Don't like the vibrant colors of the game? Here's a gritty filter. Zombies don't tackle enough? We've upped their tackle rate. Zombies tackle too much? We've brought down the rate again. You missed Dying Light 1? Well, here is the Dying Light 1 filter. And we made the zombies look like the previous game zombies, all for you. As a fan of the game, this is all very exciting. It helps to sort of impart the feeling that you're helping shape the direction the game is going, and you can potentially enjoy your time with it a lot better than when it first launched. But I think that this fan-first approach Techland has taken is insanely damaging for their game, and potentially even the entire Dying Light franchise. Throughout marketing, we were told that the game would be a modern Dark Ages for the world. It's 15 years after the fall of civilization, blah blah blah, plot that doesn't matter. And while the game doesn't feel like the Dark Ages, it does feel like a sort of renaissance, which is also a unique setting. In the first game, you feel oppressed by the isolated city of Iran. People are struggling to live. But in Villador, you feel liberated. The game imparts this feeling that, yes, we're still limited by what we can do, but there's an understated encouragement. It's a more positive and hope-filled game. In a sense, how the Renaissance was for Europe. It was a revitalization of new ideas and thoughts, and people trying new things. But then, in Dying Light 2, the fans asked for guns. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. Imagine Michelangelo's tank model. Now, imagine if he somehow built a T-47 tank. It doesn't make any sense. Again, don't get me wrong, guns are cool. But they don't have any business here. And they are nowhere near the game's top issue before its firearms update. Just Cause 3 is a game about explosions, fun, and destroying everything in your path in the most creative way possible. But it's also fucking easy. I never died to Diravel soldiers. The military jets are no threat to me, and when I see a Bavarian tank in the game, I don't think, oh shit, I better avoid it. I think, there's not even gonna be a carcass when I'm through with you. Is that a problem? Like, I'm genuinely asking, is Just Cause 3 being stupid easy a problem? If that is a problem to you, then that's fine. Welcome to Just Cause 3. We have lots of explosions, but zero difficulty. May I recommend you go somewhere else if you want difficulty? Just like a difficulty setting would make Dark Souls a worse game, a difficulty setting would make Just Cause 3 worse. Just Cause 3's problem is not the difficulty, it is the plot. And as we established, it's fine if it doesn't promise a good story. Dying Light 2's problem isn't a lack of guns. I mean, not anymore at least. Dying Light's problem is that there is no in-game content. The plot is bad and the dialogue system is terrible. You do the main story, then half the side quests delete each other for some reason, and that's it. You have parkour challenges and nothing more to keep you going. I understand that the first game had guns, but a sequel should not be desperately trying to copy the last one. Otherwise, it's gonna fail to do anything of note. I mean, Dead Space 2 is not a survival horror game, and it is equally as beloved as the first game. If you came from the first Dying Light to the second, hoping to experience Dying Light 1, you are going to be disappointed. If you want Dying Light 1, I personally recommend trying Dying Light 1. I heard it got some awards. But since a huge chunk of the player base wanted guns, we got guns. Yes, like, there are more side quests to do and challenges, but that's not in-game content. More broken quests and systems are not what the game needs. As a lifeline, it needs something. Some sort of fun activity you can do just for fun. Not more ways to kill the same enemies over and over again. Guns in Dying Light 2 is not how the game becomes great. I mean, betraying the vision you had for the game world in order to please the fans is not how the game stands out. Again, going back to the example of Dead Space 2, it is still a horror game, yes. I still have nightmares about the school section, but it stands out as unique and different from its predecessor because of its emphasis on action and a sort of a chaotic horror. It's something that I haven't quite seen replicated anywhere else. While I do believe that at least the pistols are well balanced and aren't the press left mouse button to win weapon they were in the original, they stand out, and not in a good way. It's like going back to the Stone Age, dropping a plasma rifle, and Mr. Ooga Booga here knows exactly how to use them. It breaks the entire game. But, well, that's the gun update, specifically the part about the guns. And, how's the rest of the game? Well, it's broken, fun, boring, visceral. I fucking hate the whiplash this game gives me. Let's start with the story. It's a pile of shit. But again, a pile of shit. With a great setting. Like I said in the beginning, the first game had a below average story at best. Blah blah blah. Good setting, you get it. And this may be another hot take for you, but I like Vildor. I like the setting. It isn't the promised Dark Ages, not even by a long shot, but it is a modern renaissance. People are recovering, they're thinking of new ideas, new ways to beat back the infected. There's schools and there's art being made. Aiden clearly missed the Dark Ages and arrived during Vildor's resurgence. And you know what? That's interesting. So many games and stories during the zombie apocalypse have focused on the downfall of humanity, on how we regress during the hard times. Even my personal favorite world is all about our Dark Age, Metro, my beloved. It's refreshing seeing a game explore how humanity starts to rise from the ashes. But while the setting is refreshingly unique, the story is really bad. Save for 2 or 3 characters, every other character is boring and uninteresting. To the point that when I replay the game, I actively skip several cutscenes because of how boring they are. I've already talked about this at length in my last Dying Light video 500 years ago, so I'll keep it short here. The story is as bad as the first game, and at times dips to being worse. As bad as Rise was in the first game, he never said, "I'll destroy you," or suddenly turned into a good guy, because the story needed a Shyamalan plot twist. Waltz is the guy I'm referring to here. He is cartoonishly bad. He leads a bunch of cartoonishly bad guy goons, and suddenly, he is a good guy. The plot revolves around you saving your sister Mia, a character you never see or spend time with, so you don't really care about her. And the dialogue system is atrocious, serving not only to break up conversations you may have been interested in, with an option to continue the conversation or ask for more information. It's really bad. And all of this would be okay had they not spent half of their marketing money on telling us how cool and better the story would be post year-long hiatus. So that promise of meaningful choices and a good story makes the actual bad quality of it stand out even more. I don't know, man. They even had to update the story, like removing certain sections because of how bad it was. And did you know that when the game first came out, the difference between the endings was just white text on a black background? Christ. Like, even I could make something better than that, and the only 2 games you can play from me can either be finished in 5 minutes or are so buggy you can't even play one of the maps. I mean, is this what you do now, Techland? Come on, you promised something great in Under the River. I mean, the game was broken at launch and clearly rushed. Then you promised improved physics, and they only work half the time. Then you promised roaming volatiles, and they give up chasing immediately. And yeah, I haven't even talked about the new night system that they made. The Good Night Good Luck update came out like somewhere last year. It replaced their old Watchtower system with, that had the screamers who didn't move or attack you, and it replaced that with roaming volatiles, like in the first game. And then they maybe accidentally neutered how the chases work. I mean, sometimes to escape a chase, I just have to run to the end of the street, and the chase ends. Because the volatile has a way too slow reaction time, or the AI breaks and he just stands there aggressively. Yeah, Techland, your dynamic and less arcadey chases are broken, which is a shame because your chase music sounds like God. I'm serious. Give Olivier? I don't know. I do apologize. Give that man a smooch because he can fucking cook. But your programmers, they sorta can't. Like, I stood on a monorail track once in the Central area during a level 4 chase, completely still, and I saw how the virals and volatiles, the face of the fucking franchise, kept climbing and repeatedly falling off, and I just stood there. Some places on the map I can just sort of bounce them between some weird looking pad things, and the volatiles can't hurt me, because a player repeatedly jumping is beyond the volatiles' comprehension. Again, volatiles are the face of the franchise, and they're literal death machines. But jumping is beyond their comprehension. And then we have the gameplay, the one shining star in the game. It's fun. You've got a ton of great working weapons. The gore update made it even better, almost on par with Dead Island 2's gore system. The parkour is great, combat is great, and the pistols at least don't break the fights. I can't speak for the other firearms in the game, because they're locked off behind a broken quest that you can't finish. This is a very good game, but beyond the gameplay and systems, which Techlands are masters at developing, the few good things this game does, it feels almost like an accident. Thinking about Dying Light's world gives me the same sort of feeling when I read my battle scenes I wrote as a teenager. Whoa, this is weirdly good. I was expecting a complete game back in 2022 that, like the original, would receive more content in the future. I wasn't expecting that content to be fixing broken systems or adding features which don't do much for the overall game, or also weapons that break the entire setting. I appreciate all the work you've put in, and speaking from experience, the amount of work all you wonderful developers have put yourselves through to get the game better. Each of you deserve a hug, and maybe better compensation. I don't know how much Techland pays, but the industry standard isn't very high. Techland, I love your work, but you need to stop listening to us. Some of us don't even know how the textures are even produced. When I heard that line, it made me cringe so damn bad. It wasn't a Dying Light fan that said it, but it is very bad. But yeah, some of us don't even know how games are made, and as such, we should not dictate the direction of the game's features and mechanics. I mean, besides asking for better stories, fun gameplay, and no microtransactions, we should not have a say in the game that you make. I just wish that these updates took their time, so that when they came out, they don't break the game. I wish you guys had better writers, and I appreciate the great content, but can I please stop reading my battle scenes and read something that was not good on accident? Thanks for watching. I know this video was more of a rant than an actual review, but I just wanted to share what I thought about the game in its current state.